being honest, having ADHD isn't something that I really talk about that often because it's something that I don't feel qualified to talk about because I only got diagnosed when I was 22, which meant that I went through my entire school career having ADHD without knowing I had ADHD, and that was tricky. That was hard. And I feel like a lot of people don't talk about the grieving process you go through when you find out you have ADHD at a later stage in life, because that was something that I really didn't expect to happen. That was something that I really didn't think I would have the feeling about. I understood that I would feel a little bit sad and I understood I would feel a little bit like, oh, but I didn't think I'd feel the level of grief that I kind of felt. Because I think when you get diagnosed later on in life, you think about everything that you've been through in your life, you think about all your lived experiences, and you start to look at them with a new filter on. It's like you have a camera lens, and all of a sudden you've changed the color of the camera lens because now everything looks slightly different. Everything looks different. You are reframing every single thing in your life, and that can be really tricky to get your head around. And yeah, it's just something that I've struggled with. And I think it's something that I've really struggled with now as I'm getting older and I'm kind of working out the life that I want to have, is wondering what type of life I should have, because I don't know that much about ADHD. I don't know the things that like make it a good life. I don't know the things that make it a happy life because it can feel quite isolating and hard, because a lot of the things you struggle with are things that everyone else finds really easy. And because they can be really easy tasks for everyone else, it can really undermine your confidence. It can make you feel really low and it can make your moods feel very, deflated. And then it can also make it feel like you are looking through a glass door at everyone else. You can feel like you never really connect that well with other people around you because you just feel a little bit different. You just get things in a slightly different way. The way you process information is a little bit different. The way you experience the world is a little bit different. And I mean, it makes sense because I have ADHD, but realizing that's why I felt the way I felt has been something that I have found hard. Yeah, it's been something that I've struggled with. And I think as I've got older, it's something that I've had to invest more time in that I thought. I've had to go to therapy. Therapy has been a massive helper in kind of working out why I felt certain things and working out how to control my emotions so they don't control me. Because I think the emotional side of ADHD is something that no one really talks about. That's the thing that I have found the hardest. It's not the energy and the not being able to be quiet and things like that. Like that is manageable for me. I can get on with that. It's the emotional dysregulation that I have found the most tricky. And it's kind of the hopelessness that having something that makes you a little bit different can make you feel, especially I think in the workplace when you're comparing yourself to other people, especially in school, in scenarios where you are surrounded by people who don't have what you have and are able to cope in a different way than you are. It can make you feel really unconfident in who you are, and it can just make you feel quite low. And so, to anyone else who also has ADHD, I just want to remind you that you're not the only one. We're all kind of struggling and muddling through this together, but it doesn't mean that we're going to struggle forever because there are so many incredibly successful people with ADHD. I think it's just working out how you can create a life routine that works for you, how you can find a job that works for you, how you can create a type of life plan that works for you, because the thing is you have so many other brilliant qualities to offer. And that's something that I've really had to focus on. Is just because I have ADHD doesn't mean that I don't have good things to offer. It doesn't mean I'm just this chaotic mess who can't get anything right. It means so much more than that. And I think the narrative surrounding ADHD is changing, but that kind of stereotype of what ADHD is like has been quite damaging because it's made people who do have it feel like, I've always worried, is that going to be a prejudice I face because of how it is? Is that going to be the tricky scenario that something that I'm always going to have to go up against? And I know the reality of the world is that it's not going to change just to accommodate me. It's not, as brilliant as that would be. It's not going to work because I am in the minority. But it's working out how I can make more small changes to my life to make it fit a bit better, because I know it's possible and I know I can have a very exciting, good, fulfilling life. And I know there are so many good things that I can do. But I know it's going to take me a little bit of time to work out those things, because getting diagnosed later means you haven't been figuring those things out for the last 21 years. Technically, I'm age 3 in ADHD years. I'm a baby. I have no idea how these things are going to come at me, but I have been placed in a scenario where I'm having to work out those things quick. And so I guess what I wanted to say is you're not on your own. ADHD could be hard. Neurodiversity and all senses of the way can be hard, it can be tricky, and it can be hard to navigate yourself, hard to advocate for yourself, and hard to work out what you want to do with your life, because it is just a little bit trickier for you than everyone else. Like, that's the reality of it. It just is, because you're trying to function in a world which isn't, designed with you in mind to function in it, you know? But it doesn't mean that we can't function in it. And it doesn't mean we're not going to be successful. And it doesn't mean we are not going to achieve good things. And it doesn't mean that our lives are going to be nothing. You are going to have an incredibly exciting life. And I just don't want you to think that this diagnosis, no matter what age you've got it, and kind of is going to impact the life that you is going to impact your potential whatsoever, because I promise you it's not. And I promise me to myself as well, it's not. We're going to live exciting, big, beautiful lives. It's just working out how we can live them in a way that makes us feel our absolute best. And it takes time to figure that out. But I'm going to share the things I learn because I think it would be helpful. Because I think if I'd found this video 2 years ago, I would have found it very helpful.